Coming up on Making Moves, will commuter rail work here in Northeast Florida? JTA launches a new study to find out. The Sutel Drive construction project is months ahead of schedule. We'll give you a look and we'll tell you when it may open. We'll also tell you why some local officials think a new highway is needed linking Duval and St. Johns County. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. We'll have those stories plus another installment of You Ask, We Answer. Making Moves starts right now. Hello and welcome to JTA Making Moves. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. Michael Blaylock will join me for those stories in just a moment, but first some JTA headlines. History made way for progress as the first span of the new Beach Boulevard Bridge over the Intracoastal Waterway recently opened to traffic. The new bridge replaces the McCormick Drawbridge, which, while considered a part of local history, also helped create a significant number of frustrated motorists over the years. Several times each day, traffic would come to a halt as the bridge would go up so boating traffic could pass through. The new span, with 65 feet of vertical clearance, is high enough so that the boats can now pass safely under the bridge. There are now 2 lanes of traffic traveling eastbound and 2 lanes westbound on that new span with no stopping for boats ever. The 58-year-old drawbridge will now be dismantled to make way for a second span that will eventually handle all of the eastbound traffic. While the entire project is completed late next year, there will be 3 lanes of traffic in each direction, bike lanes, and pedestrian sidewalks. Beach Boulevard is also going to be widened to 6 lanes from San Pablo Road in Jacksonville to 20th Street North in Jacksonville Beach. The JTA Customer Service Department proved it is fast improving when one of their own was named a finalist in the National Apt to Call Center Challenge. Andy Cook, an 8-year veteran at JTA, was one of over 1,000 original applicants from all over North America who entered this competition. From that group, 70 moved on before the field was narrowed down to 8 finalists after a series of telephone interviews. The final 8, including Cook, then competed before a live audience in Orlando late February. The finalists were judged on their overall customer service skills, handling caller complaints, and emergency phone calls. Cook called the experience very rewarding, saying she was thrilled to represent JTA in the national competition. From Central Florida, we head to Tampa, where the State Bus and Maintenance Rodeo competition was being held, and JTA was once again a major player. 2-time local bus rodeo champion Ramon Farfan went head-to-head with the best Florida has to offer and came away with the second-place finish. Farfan is now off to Austin, Texas, where he will test his skills in the International Bus Rodeo. Meanwhile, JTA's mechanics were doing battle with other maintenance teams from all over the Sunshine State. When the dust finally settled, JTA's team of Dallas Fisher, Jim Davis, and Rick Ballard came away with a first-place tie in the heating and cooling portion of the competition, while they did finish 4th overall. The team members talked about their experience at the state championships.
It changes, and from year to year, it gets harder and harder. Every team that goes gets better and better. So the competition out there is stronger every year when you go.
On each module, we each one got our own little thing, our section that we work on. And the one that's in the middle is on the brake board. He's usually doing his stuff and telling the other one what he's looking for, and we're looking for the same things. Just trying to find him defects as fast as we can.
This was the 3rd state rodeo appearance as a team for Fisher and Davis, but the first with Rick Ballard. They have finished in the top 5 each year. April 11th was graduation day at JTA as 7 brand new bus operators prepared to get behind the wheel. The newest drivers were recently honored by the authority as they successfully completed over 300-hour instruction in bus operations, customer service, ADA sensitivity, and advanced driving skills. Before hitting the road, the drivers were recognized at a special graduation ceremony at the JTA complex. Well, now it's time to bring in JTA Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer, Michael Blaylock. Now, Mr. Blaylock, it has been a busy couple of months for you, and a lot of good things have been happening. The Beach Boulevard opening, that bridge opening, that's been exciting for you, and a lot more with your drivers and customer service.
Yeah, we have a lot of things going on, Joyce, and the opening of that bridge span for the Beach Boulevard, those residents at the beach and South Side, they are thrilled. But we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot more to come with respect to that project. And the other part that I'm really excited about is our employees. When you think about human capital, we cannot have the kind of ingenuity and progress to experience if it were not for the great commitment of our people.
Absolutely. You know, JTA has a vision, and it's your vision. You've been talking about it a lot, really having more modes of transportation, buses, trolleys, ferries, streetcars, and trains, even to name a few.
Well, it's all about balance. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. And as we look at Northeast Florida, I think we have a very unique opportunity in Northeast Florida to get it right. So by getting it right, we're going to have to offer options. So whether that's commuter rail, waterborne transportation, fixed buses, community buses, skyway systems, intelligent transportation systems. I mean, it's all modes of transportation working together, giving our residents choices.
Okay. That means commuter rail is one of those things that you're seriously looking at as well.
Very seriously, as a regional solution for the entire region.
And now, in fact, we're doing a study on that, on how it will work, some of the possibilities, even the obstacles that have to be overcome when it comes to commuter rail. And Bill Milnes has more on that.
No one really enjoys the hassle of traffic congestion. For most of us, it's just an accepted part of our daily lives. But JTA is looking for ways to get you out of your car and out of the congestion by getting you into one of any number of other vehicles, including commuter rail trains. JTA considered commuter rail several years ago, but when the private rail companies balked at leasing out their rail lines, the authority was forced to look in other directions. But a couple of years ago, things began to change, and JTA decided to see if commuter rail was still a viable option in its overall transportation plan.
Money was set aside several years ago through the MPO process to look at commuter rail within Northeast Florida. So this isn't something that just started last year.
And so the authority recently initiated a commuter rail feasibility study to help determine if commuter rail will indeed work in this region, and if so, how.
We're approaching commuter rail not as it's a given and it's coming, but does it make sense here and does it work? You're already doing a lot of different projects, different types of technologies here. You've got the Skyway, you've got the BRT and waterborne studies going on, you've got a wonderful bus system already very intensely throughout the system. So the question here is, does commuter rail work in this context for longer distance journeys that these other modes can't capture?
Hickey says the fact that this region already has 9 existing rail lines is a plus. But the fact these lines are also busy freight corridors could at the same time pose major problems.
These are very busy freight corridors too. There's some room to build additional tracks and such, but we're going to have to work with the railroads to make sure that they're in on the partnership.
Then there's the cost. What the final dollar figure turns out to be will largely depend on which system and route, if any, is determined to be viable. The overall cost could include track upgrades, trains, leasing fees to the private railroad companies, and additional right-of-way purchases that may be needed. Congresswoman Corrine Brown, who sits on the House Transportation Committee and chairs the Rail Subcommittee, supports the JTA rail study, saying that finding viable transportation alternatives is paramount. Brown says any money spent should be considered a quality of life investment.
There's no segment of transportation that pays for itself. It is an investment that we make collectively.
The commuter rail study will continue through the end of the year. I'm Bill Milnes for JTA Making Moves.
Now, Michael, with all of that being said, how likely is it that we're going to have commuter rail here in Northeast Florida?
Joyce, it's highly likely. When you think about the build out for Northeast Florida over the next 20 years, a transportation mode such as commuter rail is a likely possibility here, and that's why we're taking the time to do the study. And having the combination of the presence of Corrine Brown, Congresswoman Brown, ranking a member of House is really a great advantage for us, coupled with the support of Congressman Crenshaw and Congressman Michael and Cliff Stern. I think we've got a very, very good opportunity there to make this possible. But again, it's all about the future. We're looking at what's occurring now and what we need to do 50 years from now.
And it's going to be a very different future for us.
Absolutely.
There are also discussions, though, going on about building a new highway called 9B. That would link southern Duval County and northern St. Johns County. Now, here's a map of the proposed 9B route. It would extend directly south from where 9A turns to connect with I-295 near the avenues. The 12-mile highway has many supporters, but for very different reasons. Jacksonville Councilman Jack Webb says his Mandarin district is overrun with traffic, particularly on San Jose Boulevard, from new developments in St. Johns County. St. Johns County Commissioner Tom Manuel sees it as a major economic factor that will help funnel freight traffic from the Jacksport expansion into his and other counties to the south and throughout the region. Different reasons, same objective. Let's hear more from both sides on this 9B issue.
We're blessed by the fact that we're on the edge of Duval County, but we're also challenged by the fact that a lot of development has occurred in northwest St. Johns County, over which I have absolutely no control. That being the case, we need to work cooperatively with St. Johns County to make certain that the infrastructure necessary to drain some of that traffic that's currently coming up San Jose Boulevard and accessing 295 so as to get to 95 is rerouted.
So 9B is mainly to make certain that the port reaches its potential. Because without that southern connectivity, then you will limit the ability of the port to serve the Florida economy and as well as the national economy. I believe that the port, longer term, will become the #1 economic driver for this region and maybe for the state.
So, Michael, you've been an integral part in all of these discussions with officials from both counties. Who has it right?
Both of them are right.
Oh, both?
Yeah, both are right. And because, again, it's a regional impact. It's a regional system that benefits both counties, Duval and St. John County.
But ultimately, how much is all of this going to cost?
A lot of money. Joyce, we're estimating better than $1 billion, and the state already has programmed about $200 million, and we're looking at maybe some private financing opportunities and some other ways that we can finance this, but we see this as a critical link, critical need for both St. John County and Duval.
Okay, and it would just grow our counties closer together, but grow us like this and pretty much expand us.
As I've stated, it's all about regionalism.
Thank you. Now an update on a story we first told you about on our last Making Moves show. Trolley service coming to Riverside. The trolleys started rolling on May 5th. New service will be a weekday lunchtime service aimed at easing the major traffic congestion and parking issues in the Five Points area and making the landing more accessible. Instead of hopping in your car to go to lunch, you'll be able to leave your parking worries behind and hop on the trolley instead. Trolleys will run every 10 minutes. Here's a look at the route. Trolleys will begin near the landing, head down Riverside Avenue with stops near the major employment centers before turning on Post Street. From Post, the trolleys will then head south on Margaret Street through the heart of Five Points until reaching Riverside Avenue near Memorial Park. The trolleys will then head back toward downtown and the landing. The first departure is 10:30 a.m. from Water and Laura Streets downtown. The final departure from Five Points will be at 2:44. At Riverside Avenue and at Margaret Street. Now the fare for the Riverside trolley will just be 50 cents each way. Michael and I will be right back with a look at the progress at Kings Avenue Station, and we'll introduce you to JTA board member Ava Parker. It's being hailed as Jacksonville's first transit-oriented development. The Kings Avenue station in San Marco is a mixed-use development that will incorporate the Skyway and bus rapid transit into its design and function. Here's Bill Milnes with more on what we can expect from this model example of a public-private partnership.
Just a few months into construction at what will one day be 2 Hilton brand hotels, and the foundation of the Kings Avenue Station project is already taking shape. Right now, just pillars and piping, it will soon be an 8-story, 221-room hotel complex, complete with a Homewood Suites and a Hilton Garden Inn. Hank Fondy of San Marco Hotel Partners, the company building the hotel complex, says that having the dual hotel brand under one roof is both new and unique, but that both hotels will actually complement each other.
The Hilton Garden Inn, first of all, is a very successful Hilton brand, and it includes food and beverage facilities. It has a restaurant, it offers room service, it has meeting facilities, it has a bar. The hotel will cater mostly to businessmen, road warriors who are traveling in and out of Jacksonville. Then next door we will have the Homewood Suites, which is an all-suite product with full kitchens, and we offer that in 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom combinations.
Fondy says the hotels will share meeting rooms, a state-of-the-art fitness center, pool, and sauna. Each room will feature wireless internet and have high-definition flat-screen TVs with HD programming. But Kings Avenue Station will have much more than the 2 hotels. Right next door, developer Mike Belanke has been working on some big plans of his own.
We did a market study to see, what we thought was missing in the market and where the opportunities were, for a high-impact project. And so we came up with a mixed-use concept, which will be a combination of retail, restaurants, and residential.
Belanke says the availability of both the JTA parking garage and mass transit make this site the perfect location for people to live, work, and play.
We think with the rapid transit coming in eventually and the existing Skyway that's here, it's a perfect opportunity to create, a live, work, play scenario, if you will. People will be able to live here, take the Skyway downtown to the new courthouse or to, City Hall or, the landing, wherever it is they choose to go.
Belanke's mixed-use development is expected to start construction in September. The 2 Hilton hotels will be open for business in the spring of next year. I'm Bill Milnes, JTA Making Moves.
Some good news for residents living and working near a major JTA construction project on the city's north side. The widening and reconfiguration of Sutel Drive is months ahead of schedule and could be completed by the end of this year. We asked Sutel construction manager Richard Schwab to give us an update.
We're realigning the roadway from where it starts at Interstate 295, eliminating the dogleg at Old Kings Road to New Sutel, making a straight path from I-295 to New Kings Road with the overpass and Norfolk Southern Railroad. The road's presently only 2 lanes. It is being widened to 4 lanes with a center turn lane. They've got quite a bit of the asphalt paving done already. They're finishing up on both ends at Interstate 295 and US 1, where we're finishing curb and gutter, placing lime rock, which would then be followed by the asphalt paving. The contractor at this point is quite a few months ahead of schedule, and barring weather conditions, they're hoping to have it finished by December of this year, as opposed to the actual completion date, which is May of 2009.
Diversity means strength when it comes to leadership on the JTA Board of Directors. Local attorney Ava Parker brings a powerful combination of transportation and litigation experience to her role as board treasurer.
Based upon where we are in this session, it's something that we can get past the 08 legislative session.
What's interesting about the way our board is set up now is we have, contractors and developers, we have finance folks, we have lawyers, we have a nice mix of individuals.
A very important piece of the board pie is Ava Parker, managing partner for the law offices of Lawrence & Parker. Her firm's main areas of practice are commercial and civil litigation and public finance. While Parker admits law wasn't her first choice in college, it quickly became her passion.
It seemed to be an area that opened up a lot of doors where I could use the writing skills that I gained from a college of journalism, and then work that in conjunction with some other general interests.
Parker was appointed by Mayor John Payton and brings years of government experience to the board through stints for both the Public Service Commission and the Florida Department of Transportation. Parker says transportation defines communities.
People have to have ways to get to work and to take care of their basic needs. So I can't think of a better area to be involved in within the city that I live in other than transportation.
Parker believes JTA has an obligation to serve the entire community without compromising planned growth.
Is that I think I bring a right mix of understanding the legal issues, understanding the growth issues, while also having the compassion to deal with some of our constituents that we serve.
Parker says she believes JTA will have to be creative to address some of the pressing needs within our communities. Time now for our regular segment, You Ask, We Answer. C.W. Strickland of Jacksonville asked, why don't we have light rail in Jacksonville? I think a system running parallel to JTB between the beaches and Phillips Highway would work.
We are looking at all the options, including light rail and bus rapid transit along corridor to the beaches. The Butler Boulevard corridor in particular, right away will be very expensive along that area. So we're looking at other options, including Beach Boulevard also. But we are not closing any option at this point, but we will probably look at other options such as bus rapid in the immediate future.
You could also run a system along Phillips Highway all the way to St. Augustine. I envision something like what Baltimore has done with the Inner Harbor District.
We're currently looking at that option in our commuter rail study. And in fact, that corridor is a very viable option to go along the Phillips Highway corridor to St. Augustine and even further south.
And we'd like to hear from you. So just send your questions or comments about the show to makingmovestv@jtafla.com. Some local college students have a new ticket to ride. A new partnership between the Jacksonville Transportation Authority and Edward Waters College is giving students a newfound sense of independence and a chance to see any part of Jacksonville anytime they want to go. The trip from Kings Road to any destination in the Jacksonville area is now a reality for every EWC student thanks to the Tiger Ride.
If I need to go home or if I need to go to the mall or get back to the school, I always have a way of transportation.
EWC students can get on any JTA bus and show their college ID card for unlimited rides. The nominal cost is included in their student fees.
Unlimited access to almost all Jacksonville areas are certainly going to improve and enhance student life on our campus.
JTA officials say this initiative exposes a new group of clients to its services, and it's great for students with or without cars.
I drive a SUV, and it's tough for me to pay that $50 it takes to fill that tank up every time I want to go somewhere. So I know what it's like as a student.
It's both convenient and economical since gas prices are going up.
Since Tiger Ride began, the JTA says an average of more than 70 students are using the service daily to go to local malls, restaurants, and even to work.
Tiger Ride affords us the opportunity to move our students around the city as part of the educational process.
To date, more than 4,000 new JTA trips have been recorded thanks to Tiger Ride. Tiger Ride is a pilot program that JTA hopes to expand to all of the area colleges and universities within the JTA system. Well, another great show full of important information on our transportation, present and future. So what else do you need to say to the public today before we leave?
Well, Joyce, let me just thank you because this has been so much fun. This is a fairly new venture for the authority in terms of presenting this type of programming. And I think it's very, very important to the community to be well informed in terms of what we're trying to do. But my closing words would be that I'm really ecstatic to our viewers. The feedback that we've gotten, we've received from our viewers has been very, very encouraging. The participation in a number of citizens attending a host of our Transit Talk meetings, our community meetings. The JTA is really about change, Joyce. We are undergoing a tremendous amount of change because this region is going to be undergoing a lot of change. And so to meet that change and to meet that demand for better transportation solutions, JTA has to be at the forefront, and we're moving in that direction.
And I think the public being involved is great for you as well.
It's very critical. If we're going to design a good product, we've got to have their input.
Absolutely. And that is our show for today. We thank you so much for watching. For Michael Blaylock and everyone at JTA, I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. We'll see you next time right here on Making Moves.